What's up guys, Brad here from Piney Grove, and if you're a regular watcher of the channel, you know that we have a 1-acre food plot on our property, and for years we've been planting it in the spring and also in the fall, and most of it is to feed the deer herd, the local deer herd, also to do some hunting. I've hunted this many times this fall, and I didn't connect with any deer. So what I got planted in here besides the grains is a legume called Austrian winter peas. So there's a lot of peas out here, and there's also some crimson clover. So that'll feed pretty much up until May or June. But one of the things we've been wanting to do back here is turn it into some sort of cash crop, or at least something that we can eat as a homesteader. We've got a garden. The garden's about 40 by 60, and we got our plant started, and it's going to be all the tomatoes and corn and beans and everything that we can eat, and it's protected from the deer. But one of the things that we found we really liked last year, and we liked sharing with our friends, was watermelon and cantaloupe. And they will take over a garden because their vines will go out like 6 to 10 feet on either side of the row. So what I want to do here is see if I can grow some watermelon and cantaloupe back here in the food plot. But I want to show you just like how thick the rye grain is. So I got some rye grain in here and some wheat, and it's growing really tall, especially up here because it stays more moist and it's better soil. Then as you get down the plot there, it goes downhill and it's more sandy. But we've been doing a lot of work with this soil. We plowed it, we took a box blade and we filled in all the holes. We moved some sand to where there's some clay. We moved some clay to where there was some sand. And we've just been taking all this, what we call green manure, and reincorporating it back in the soil. So there has been some fertilizer here, but for the most part, it's planting something, turning it into the soil, planting something, turning it into the soil, just to help enrich the soil. So today what I want to do is I got the tiller on back of the Kubota L3901. It's a 5-foot tiller, king cutter tiller. I'm going to till this up a few rows out there, and then we'll come back later within the same video, and we'll bed it up with the bedder behind the Summit tractor, and then we'll lay down our fabric and then plant our watermelon and cantaloupe in those hills. But today we're just going to till, or at least the first part of this video, we're just going to till. Well, that's pretty impressive. You can see how tall this grass is here, and it terminated all that and pulverized it, but it didn't make it like a fine powder. So I still got some good dirt clods in here, so that's what I wanted. And all of this stuff will no longer use nutrients, and a lot of this is what you call green manure. All the nutrients that are in this greenery are getting tilled into the soil. So that came out really awesome. The tiller's not binding. I'm in low gear, 540 RPM on the PTO, and it's just doing a really good job. I got the right soil moisture or moisture content here in the soil, and it's looking great. So I'm going to do a few more rows, and then we're just going to let it sit, and we'll come back in a few days, maybe till it again and bed it up. And I actually eat these Austrian winter peas, pretty tall one right there for this time of year, and these will get 3 or 4 foot tall and make peas. But it actually tastes good. It tastes just like the flavor of a pea. If you were to take out a green pea and eat the peas, that's what it tastes like. I'm going to do one more pass, and that should be enough. I cleared this out recently with the Baumolite forestry mulcher, so I got in between these pines all cleaned, and I also want to till that because I want the food plot to be in between the pines as well. So that's the first time that's ever been tilled since we've owned it. Got a lot of roots and stuff, but it'll get better over time. looking at it, and there's no need to crowd the plants. We got an acre here, so I'm going to do one more row, so that'll be 25 feet. And that's probably about right for watermelons and cantaloupe. Well, I got the tractor out. I'm going to go ahead and work in between these pines that I cleared out and just get the process started of breaking down all of the stuff that I mulched up. It's still got the roots and the little stumps in there, and this will just start the process of killing it off and breaking it down so we can actually plant something in here this fall. But I went between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pine rows, and then I came down the edges here. And I got that mixed up pretty good, and I'm not recommending that you take your tiller through the woods like that, but I want to get this tilled up, and if I break a few tines, then I'm okay with that. And I didn't break anything, but just letting you know that sometimes I might do something, or us YouTubers might do something that could be detrimental to your equipment. And I actually get comments that say on our sponsored equipment, hey, you wouldn't do that with your own equipment. Well, I paid for that tractor and I paid for that tiller. None of that stuff is sponsored. And I just try to get the work done. And if it damages it, then I'll fix it. But this is good. It tilled up a lot of this stuff that was in here. But that's going to wrap up the tilling part of this video. We'll wait a couple weeks and see how the weather does and how the soil changes with maybe rains and stuff. And then maybe till it again and then bed it up. So here is the next segment right now. So I've been chomping at the bit for weeks to be able to plant these watermelon. And the reason I haven't been able to do it is because we've been so dry. April is known as one of the driest months in Florida, and it held true to form this year. So we basically had no rain for about 4 weeks. This was bone powdery dry, and I tilled it like 2 months ago before any of the grains and the clover out here could get tall, in hopes that I could get those watermelon in the ground sooner, but I just couldn't. This isn't irrigated back here, and there's no way I could bring back enough water to irrigate or get this whole area ready for planting. So I've got about 20 feet of width here, and what I want to do is till it all up and kill all these weeds, terminate all these weeds mechanically, no chemicals, and then put a row of watermelon and cantaloupe right here down the center, far enough away from that wood's edge so as the sun gets more to the afternoon, they get a little more sun out this way. And also so I can keep the weeds down on either side of the bed, but at some point the vines are going to go 10 feet either way, and I won't be able to do that. But at least the center, where the landscaping cloth will be, there will be no weeds. All right, let's get to tilling. And we're not going to have any GoPro shots from it mounted to the tractor or the tiller, because I mulched up the GoPro with the Bombelite mini mulcher, or the Bombelite mini skid steer with the mulcher on it the other day, and it's been over a week and I still haven't found the camera, not even little pieces of it. That is tilling up so good back there. Absolutely perfect. Doesn't that look nice? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I made 6 passes because I overlapped quite a bit. Like that one pass right there might only be 2 foot wide because this road is right next to the plot, and I had to do this final 5 foot pass. But now for the next step, and that's to hook the hiller up to the back of this Summit TX25, create my hill, and then there's manual labor after that. It won't be as fun. At least not as fun for me. You guys might enjoy watching though. This is the landscaping cloth I'll be using in that field out back, and it's a little bit more narrow than what is in the garden. I think this might be 2 foot wide, and maybe that's a little bit wider. But it looks like the coulters here are set perfect for that. So once this makes a little hill, we'll put this on top and throw the dirt over. And also you can take these and turn them in and make your hill taller. And we did that for the first hill last year or this spring, and we thought it was too tall, so we made this less aggressive, and it makes a shorter hill. And I think we found we like the taller hill better, but this fabric won't work on a taller hill. I think everything's set up. We can go make a hill now. Remember how deep brown the soil was when I first tilled it? And you can see it's already started to turn gray on the very top as it starts to dry out. And what a lot of people don't know or don't realize, especially if they're not farmers, is as soon as you break out the crust or break off the crust of soil, it can start drying out. So you always want to leave soil covered. You don't really want it to stay tilled like this for long. The first rain will come in here and create a crust, or you put a cover crop or something in here. But this isn't really good for the soil to be like this all the time, because it's just steadily releasing moisture and not allowing all the organisms in your soil to have the right environment to live. So it's not only important to have the right moisture when you till, but it's also important on the timing when you till, so that a rain will come in, which we're supposed to have rain in a couple days, and come back and reestablish that crust. I've got the tractor about where I want it, halfway from here to the untilled ground, and I'm gonna drop this thing down. I might have to experiment with it as far as depth and speed of the tractor, but I only have one row to do, so I don't have a lot of time to get good at it. You can see the hill bedded up, pretty consistent all the way. It's not, can't really get it much better than that. Kind of straight. I'm aiming for those in between those pine trees right there. I got a little curve to it. One thing my dad taught me when we had these big long fields is just pick out a tree or something on the other end and drive towards that. Well, remember earlier in the video when I was giving you advice on how to drive a straight line? I wouldn't take any advice from me based on how crooked that is. If Deb did this, I would say, girl, you been drinking? I'm kind of sad now because the easy part is done. The tractoring work is always the most fun. Now I got to get some landscape cloth and cover it up and burn holes in it, and it'll be great when the project's over. And I'll probably leave that landscape cloth here for next year after the watermelons are done, and maybe that'll become a row of strawberries. I've been prepping this field right here for 7 years, growing it. You know, the deer have been coming here and eating it, so it's mainly been a crop for the deer. But I don't harvest anything out of there. I just take all of the leftover silage and organic matter and the stalks and everything, and just reincorporate it in the soil and keep growing stuff. And this year I want to put a whole bunch of manure on that field and just keep it, make that soil more and more fertile. And then maybe, you know, 3 years from now, it's a self-picked strawberry field, or self-picked, let's say, pumpkins or something. Have people come here and pick their own pumpkin. Just something to generate revenue and make use of the land. I like to put fertilizer in that mound because you're never going to be able to get it there again unless it's liquid. So part of me says only put out enough fabric for the watermelon and cantaloupe plants I have. Another part of me says do the whole row and then it'll be ready for the future. I think the first thing I'm going to do is lay out and see how much plastic I have to begin with, and this will probably frustrate me because the wind will catch it. This is a two-person job, but Deb is busy at the moment, so she can't help me. So we're going to figure out a way to do this solo. Well, it's well more than halfway, so it's a beautiful day out here. Guess I'll just go ahead and suck it up and go get some more and do the whole row. That way it'll be basically here for years. This is the not so fun part, and Deb and I have done this a couple years in a row, and there's just no easy way. There's a machine out there that will lay plastic behind your tractor, but it's a very expensive machine, and unless you have acres and acres of this to do, the best way to do is just go down one side and, you know, pull out a little bit of dirt and bury the plastic and following that row down there. And it's easier if you have two people. Usually Deb's here with me to do it, and that way you pull it tight as you go. So this is a new piece. This one doesn't look like it's been used in a garden before. So this one probably won't conform as well, but I put fertilizer on top, and then I went down and mixed that fertilizer in, and the row was dug a little bit deeper on one side than the other, so I kind of smoothed off the top, and now I'll have a nice even mound. Otherwise the mound would have been taller on this side than that side. But you just take your hand and make a trench here, take loose dirt, backfill that trench, and go on down the line. I guess I'll go down one side and come back and pull the other side tight when I go. And the key is to keep this line here pretty straight and not bunched up, so you get plenty of soil on top of the plastic so it doesn't blow away, and also so you can till closer to it, because if this is, you know, sticking out or folded over or something, then you won't know exactly where the edge of it is. But right here where the dirt meets the black plastic, that's pretty much where the plastic ends. So that's the beginning of it. You can see how nice that looks once you get it right. I'm a little more than halfway done with the landscaping cloth here, and you can certainly see a little crook to my line. So the pieces of landscaping cloth back there were about, I'd say, 4 inches wider after the first two than the remaining 8 or 10 that I have to put down. And what that resulted in was cloth that was wider than the hill. So down here you'll see the dirt is a lot more towards the center than it is back here. And that's because the cloth just doesn't go all the way down to the trench on the left and the right hand side. So it's been causing me a little bit more work because I had to reshape the hill a little bit. But it hasn't been all bad, because once I take the hoe and reshape the hill, then I can just take, and instead of being on my hands and knees, I can pull dirt up against the plastic, because I don't have to fold it down because it's not too wide. But I got to make sure this is nice and packed, or else the wind might catch it. If you get a lot of rain and it washes a lot of this dirt off, it might expose the edge of the plastic. So learning as I go here to keep the wind from blowing it, I would come over here and do this side. So getting one side anchored and then doing the other side and pulling it tight. And it's taking a little bit more effort, a little bit more work, but this is going to be here for, I don't know how long this plastic lasts, but I'm going to say 5 years or so. So this packing part that I'm doing now, Deb likes to do with her feet. And we've got some good sped up video of her doing it in the garden, where she gets on both sides and she just kind of does this and has her scooting across the garden. First time we watched it back, we were just laughing, because we don't know how these videos are going to turn out while we're recording them. Here, let me do it a little bit. She'll speed this footage up. That is the Deb from Piney Grove Shuffle. And the last step, I'll get the other hyson with the IBC toad on it. And when I plant, I'll make sure that I put plenty of moisture around each plant, and also wash off this landscape cloth so the dirt goes to either side and it leaves just a clean landscape cloth, because even though there's just a little bit of dirt here, weeds will try to grow there. If you're wondering why I'm not putting drip irrigation or something down with the landscape cloth, it's because we don't have a water source back here. But eventually I'd like to have everything where you just turn a knob and you can water it, because right now we got to bring the cart over and it's got a 12-volt pump on it, and we got to water. But in dry periods like it has been, it seems like you're watering just about every other day. We got 100 gallons of water. Time to go plant. I'm trying to figure out 6 feet here. I didn't bring a tape measure, and what I want to do is not burn too many holes in here. And I don't know what the spacing is on strawberries, so I don't want to mess that spacing up. But we'll go 2 paces for the watermelon. That's like 2 medium paces, I guess. And also I got different types of watermelon. Like this one's crimson, and I'll probably come back and like put the watermelons together that are the same. Maybe they're all crimson. These are Jubilee. These are in a different type of bin. I got to separate those plants out individually. And then I got 6 cantaloupe. I'm going to leave more space down there in the end where it's dry, so I'm not going to put the first watermelon until 12 feet. And then push it down here where the soil tends to stay a little bit more moist, a little bit better soil, more clay in it. All right, I like that spacing. Let's get to planting. So if you haven't seen this process before, it's pretty neat. I just got a little propane torch here. Turn on the gas, turn it down low, and I'm just gonna go real quick and burn the plastic. Make a hole, kind of singes the edges. You want a big enough hole that you can find the stem and water around it. So I just learned over the couple years I've been doing it not to make it too small nor too big. Make it too big, then you'll get a lot of weeds that grow up in it. But I think by doing 6 foot here, I think strawberries are like a 3 foot interval. So we can go in between whenever you plant strawberries, which I think is the spring. If you do it right, you can get a pretty round hole. That one's not perfect. Let's try one more. I just start from kind of high. You'll see the plastic start to melt as you get closer. There you go. Remember, we already put fertilizer in here in this whole hill. And you see where this burned edge is? It keeps that from peeling back. So if you do it right, that edge won't break away as you're planting. But dig a hole as deep as your potting soil here. And these are just garden pots. I've got the other type of pot for the other one. And also, we planted 2 seeds per, and we usually don't prune them. It's okay to have 2 seeds per hole on a watermelon, but we could have pruned one off and then when they first came up and let the stronger one survive. But usually you can just pull on the stem and this will come out. I'm going to take my knife and go around the edges. It's either too dry or too wet, the soil, one or the other. But you don't want to pull the plant out of its dirt. If you can help it, you want it to come out just like that with all those roots. And you don't want to plant it below the surface. You want it to be at the same level that it's been growing at. And what I like to do, put right down in the base where the plant's going to go, just a little bit of fertilizer. And this is a balanced fertilizer. It's triple 13. So I just put that down there, and then the roots should chase that downward with water and get your strong roots going down, and then just pack it in. All right, so that's one transplanted. They may blow over a little bit as they get used to being on their own until they get their roots established. They may even wilt a little, but you almost can't overwater them when they first go in. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this 2-gallon watering can and we're going to put 2 scoops of this Walmart brand Miracle-Gro in it. Same stuff as Miracle-Gro. It's like 24-8-8 or 24-4-8 or something as far as the fertilizer. Meaning the first number is nitrogen, so it's really high in nitrogen. And it's just like a generic version of Miracle-Gro. This is what makes our garden so green. You saw how good our garden was in the beginning of the video. So it's 1 scoop per gallon. Turn on our pump here, 12 volt hooked up to the hyson. Our pump will pump up to pressure. Then I'll just fill this 2-gallon up with my wand here. And this thing shuts off automatically when it reaches pressure, so you don't have to keep turning your pump on and off. Now I'm going to take some of this magic mixture here and totally saturate the ground. Let it soak in. I'll probably do this 2 or 3 times throughout the day as I plant the rest of them. And also when you're watering them, you can see how they fall over because their roots aren't used to being out of that pot. But they'll get strong. By tomorrow, they'll probably be completely vertical. But you also put it on the leaves as they grow bigger, and the leaves will absorb the nitrogen too. So I'm going to go down the line here and do the rest, and I'll catch up with you guys at the end when they're all planted, and we'll see what it looks like. These are in the pots you would typically see like at Walmart or some sort of feed and seed store, and these come out a little bit different. Every one of the ones in the other pot, I had to use my knife and run around the edges because the roots were kind of adhered to the edges of the plastic. But on these, you push on the bottom while you hold on to the stem, and these should pop right out. They're designed, yeah, you can see the root ball and everything of that. So I'm going to space these out every 6 feet and get these in the ground. But I just wanted to show you the difference between those green pots, which are kind of like little flower pots, versus these starter pots. And all these were like reused from things we bought before. So I couldn't even tell you where to get these, but I know I've seen them in like Walmart and Amazon and stuff. But I just keep them and reuse them until they fall apart. All right, guys, they are all planted, and I'm just gonna go along here with the water. The plants have plenty of water, but I'm gonna go along here and wash off the black landscape cloth, just so this water will go on the side and pack that dirt on the side so we won't get any washouts or blowouts on the next rain there. But that's gonna wrap up today's video, so until next time, y'all take care out there, and remember, life's short, tractor hard, and check out these 2 videos right here. They're totally awesome. We'll catch you on the next one.